Okay, so I think we are good to begin now. We have most people here. We're just waiting for all the participants to be here. Most of them are here now. So, Namaste and a very good evening to each one of you. I'm sure you all are eager to get started with this session. But my name is Ishita. Quick introduction. I'm from Team Wellcure and I welcome you all to today's complimentary session. And along with me are also some of my team members on this call to support you with any concerns or questions that you may have related to the session or the course. And you can use the chat for the same. We'll be taking up questions towards the end. We would request you to please save all of your questions for the end. Listen to whatever Dr. Gauri has to share for today's class, and then we will definitely address your queries. I'm sure each one of you are coming here with curiosity about what is the right way of living and eating, and we are living in an information overload environment here, multiple sources of getting our facts, and yet we are all confused. So, we are very happy that you decided to come for this session today. Today is the first session of the Holistic Healing and Nutrition Certification course, which has been spearheaded and curated with a lot of love by Dr. Gauri Rokkam. She is a renowned nutritionist. She's a nature cure exponent, and what sets her apart is basically how beautifully she integrates and brings together the best of both worlds. She blends the Western principles of modern medical nutrition with the Eastern yogic philosophy of food and nutrition, and she has collated really cutting edge, research, evidence-based scientific papers, and all of the principles of eating and living. And through this course, what she trains us to do is basically rise above these ever-changing trends, and very logically explains how we can take these decisions mindfully. So each one of you are looking forward. I'm not going to take up any further time. So I welcome you, Dr. Gauri, to this course, and I now would like you to take it forward from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ishita. So let me share my screen first. Right. My respectful pranams to each one of you who have joined us this evening. And on behalf of myself and Wellcure, I thank each one of you for joining us, especially those people who have enrolled into our course. And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the founders of Wellcure and the whole team, especially Ishita and Janavi, who are helping us today and who are running my course very often. Thank you so much. So I call myself a holistic nutritionist, and as Ishita rightly said, because I blend these holistic principles of nature cure and the yogic philosophy of food. And that was possible because of my father. His knowledge, his understanding is what is the basis of my understanding and my work. As I grew up, I felt I was not getting the right so-called logical answers to my questions. And I said, I'm going to learn more about food myself, and went into this degree of food and nutrition. And I went ahead doing my master's degree. And at the end of master's degree is when I realized, standing first in the university, that I was thoroughly confused. Why? Because what I learned from my textbooks were almost contradicting to what my father had taught me throughout my life. So at that tender age, I wouldn't understand what was right, what was wrong. And I was not ready to, accept that science could be wrong. And what I always thought our Indian philosophies could be somewhere wrong. And that is where my unofficial research actually started. I started going to experts of every field and asking them whys and whats. There also I would get into trouble because each one would say, I'm right and everybody else is wrong. So I was left to figure out who is right and who is wrong. This way, I have studied, understood, experienced, and also the work with thousands of clients in these last 25 years has made me understand food a bit. There is no end to understanding. And all these years of understanding, learning and unlearning is what I've put into this course, because I don't want other people to take those 25 years to understand food. I can put it into 25 hours and help people understand that in the small little course is the whole attempt. I'll try to do my best to maximize your understanding. Now, let me just take you through very quickly what is it we have in this course. If you're thinking you have something to learn extraordinary, nothing which nobody else knows, I'm sorry, that is not my intention, and that is not what is there in this course. Basically, I pick in all the basic fundamental principles, concepts, facts from all these three philosophies of food: the food science, yogic philosophy of food, and nature cure philosophy of food, and blend them in the right concoction so that they become more meaningful and complete. And the nutrition science is a complex subject. You need a huge amount of time to understand that. So I'm going to make that nutrition science knowledge as simple as possible so that anybody from any walks of life, whatever your background is, will be able to understand, digest, assimilate, and appreciate what I'm trying to say. And it is kind of putting in 5 + 7 years of my formal education into these 25 years. So you can understand what is the intensity of it. As everybody shared, it is completely packed. And even if you miss 1 minute, you've missed something very precious. So just be with me so that you understand everything and will be able to put a perspective to what I am trying to say. And whatever I say here is absolutely evidence-based. When I say evidence-based, it could be from our ancient texts, it could be from research, or it could be from the client experiences, which I share often. And I generally try to teach it in 3 times every single aspect of it, because I don't expect to, I don't share complete notes because I don't believe in that. And I don't allow people to record it and share it because that's absolute waste of time. Unless you can focus with me right now and be with me and understand and learn, it is always never to happen. So I always explain in 3 times: once in a common man's language, second in a research terms, and the third summarize it so you will not miss anything. And I'm always available, so you can always clarify your doubts in case you have one. And the best part of this course is it's not about information. We have enough information, all of us, at our fingertips. But the problem is, I know something, I know it is right, but I'm not able to adopt. That is the whole point of this course. I teach, and parallelly, we are going to adopt it. And I'm going to, kind of assess and give you the certification based on your participation and understanding and doing what we are trying to do. Unless, say, for example, Wellcure creates a WhatsApp group between all the participants and myself. And when I do something, I give an assignment, let's say as simple as I've told you to eat fruits in the evening. Each one of the participants have to eat fruits, take a picture and show me on the group that we have eaten these kinds of fruits. And that is where the conversations happen. And that is where the coaching of 100+ hours in these 3 weeks happen on the WhatsApp groups. Now, anybody from any walk of life, especially people who are interested in the health space. You could be a doctor, you could be a nurse, you could be a nutritionist, you could be a health personnel, like, say, for example, a yoga therapist or a physiotherapist, or from other medical fields like Ayurveda, Siddha, homeopathy, all these people. And when you're already doing such a wonderful work with your clients, when you understand food also from the scientific understanding and the ancient text understanding, you can get an edge in your profession when you learn all of this. Today, I'll be covering some of these which you see on this slide. And going ahead, most of us do not seem to understand and know the ways this body works. That's the whole problem. I don't like this. I don't want this. I like only this is all the time we are talking because we don't understand the mechanics of this body. Say, for example, you've paid lakhs of rupees and bought a car. Will you fill the fuel without understanding on what fuel it runs? You will understand every aspect of your car before adding the fuel, right? If you bought a car of petrol, you will never even think of adding diesel. Will you ever do that? But why do we do this with our own system, which is only one? You can't replicate, you can't buy another one, right? This is very, very important. And nobody has given us this user's manual to use this tool. And that's exactly what I want to share here. And going ahead, understanding about the food. Today, we don't seem to see food as food. We have been taught to look at food as its components, the protein, the fat, the carbohydrates. Everybody, common man. It is only my job to understand food in the form of its components. Not everybody. Everybody needs to look at food as food. And that's exactly what we need to learn. What does every food group do in our body? How does it help me? How does this body run with this particular group of foods is what we need to understand, not break them down into proteins and fats and all kinds of their nutrients, because this body is one whole complex machine. And the food also is as complex as this. They work in synergy with each of its parts. You cannot isolate the body and say, I will break down the body into its organ system and treat them. This is what I was taught in my nutrition studies, to break down my body into its parts and treat them with specific therapeutic nutrition, that is therapeutic diets or special foods or the superfoods. It doesn't work. We fail badly because the whole body works together. Similarly, you cannot break down the food into its components and expect it to work. It all works together. Together, everything works beautifully, and that's what we need to understand. But I might break them down while teaching into the proteins or the carbs or the fats to help you understand what that means. But finally, we have to look at food as food. And by the end of the food groups, you will be able to design your own healthy, balanced meal, not just for yourself, for your loved ones in the family, and any age group, any gender, you will be able to design this balanced meal plate. Going ahead, this is the biggest blunder, if you ask me, nutrition science has done, teaching us to count calories. If you ask me, we should be counting nutrients, not the calories. So I'll ensure you forget counting calories and learn to see, where am I getting my nutrients? How do I increase my nutrients? Or even look at, where am I losing my nutrients? If you look at these, then you've got all your nutrients, what the body requires, and body is intelligent enough to take care of itself. And coming to the diseases, yes, I would like to bring in the aspect of nature cure here to a large extent. And of course, I will deal with all the lifestyle disorders listed and much more, and specifically with those diseases which the participants in the group are concerned about. I will go in great detail with all of these, but touch upon all of those which specifically the participants need. And we'll end the course with the understanding of yogic philosophy of food, because our ancestors knew very well that food has a huge impact on our minds. And let me tell you, we all try to deal with our plates, and that is where we fail. We need to deal at this level, not at the plate level. If we can shift our thoughts, if we can shift the way we think about food and its benefits, that is where the shift happens. And we need to understand the yogic philosophy of food for that, and how it has an impact on our mind. And when we can eat something which can change our mindset, what else do you need? You don't have to make an effort here. So all those tools which will help us adopt it to our lifestyle is going to be discussed at the end of the course. So this is what I have to offer in this whole course. Now let's get started. Most of the time I'm asked, the first question people ask me is, why should I eat right? So let me answer this question with a quick, short, and powerful video. I think my video is not running. Janvi, Ishita, can you please run the video? You want me to stop sharing?
Yeah, please stop sharing. I'll share the video.
Right, let me share back my screen. Right. So I'm sure the visuals were quite impactful. All of us want to be healthy, to be mobile, and also, fit till the last breath, but we don't want to do anything towards it. That's the whole problem. How can you expect it to work till then without taking care of it? It is very, very important to understand that aspect of it. And also, it is so important that this is the only tool, whatever you want to achieve in life, whether it is you want to do some good to others, or you want to earn money, or you have to fulfill your desires, or you are looking at moksha. For everything, this is the only tool you have. Unless you take care of this tool, you will not be able to work in any of the areas in life. So you better take care of it. Now, today's medical science and technology has lengthened our lives. What I mean to say is, in spite of me having any kind of diseases, any combination of diseases, I'm drugged and kept alive with the procedures and the medications. But what is the quality of life? In 100 years, if you're running around drugs, dietitians, doctors, and the labs, 50 of your years, what's the point in living? Believe me when I say this, old couple and old people reach my clinic. They have multiple diseases and disorders, and they're put on different kinds of medications. They almost have tears in their life and ask me, when will this end? We have no say in that. I cannot end when I want to. That's the whole problem. If you don't want to go into that state of life, it is very important to take care of this body now. Otherwise, you'll end up in that state and then there is no reversal. Just give me a second, please. Yeah. So the whole idea is, one is to live longer, but to be healthy, without diseases and without any disorders, being happy and healthy. Is this possible? Yes, absolutely. Why? Because everything inside our body, at the atomic level, at the molecular level, at the subatomic level, at the cellular level, is changing at such high speeds that this becomes possible. Let me explain. Let me give you an example. Like the cells lining our intestines and stomach. All these cells die in a week's time and they're rejuvenated. The cells, say, are blood cells, depending on what blood cells, they might live from several weeks to a month. They die, they finish their lifetime, and they're produced again in the body. Similarly, the certain cells in the hippocampus, even though we know that a lot of neurons cannot be rejuvenated, a lot of them in the hippocampus, almost 700 neurons get added every single day. Now just tell me, even the heart muscle for that matter, in our lifetime, we might probably have one new heart. Heart muscles keeps changing at somewhere like 0.5% to 10% in a year. So everything is changing inside the body. With this change, we have an opportunity. If we feed right, then you will have a new healthy cell. If you feed wrong, it gets, corrupted, and that is what multiplies. This is where the opportunity lies for us to become healthy. You could have been suffering from 30 years, 40 years, doesn't matter at all. Just a matter of 4, 6, 8 weeks, you will see this reversal starting by eating right and living right. So it's as simple as I am saying, live right and eat right, and things will start reversing and you'll get back to health. Now here, it reminds me of a beautiful story from Amar Chitrakatha. I heard it from His Holiness Shri Raghaveshwar Bharati Swamiji, and he puts it very beautifully. And the story goes this way. There was a sage who went to take a bath in a river, and to give an arghya, or the salutation to the sun god, he took water in his palms, and he found a little mouse in the hand. Then he had some pity on this mouse and said, let me save this mouse. He took it to the bank and he was about to leave, and he saw an eagle above. He said, okay, this is not going to save this little mouse. He folded his hand, brought it back to the ashram. And here he had another problem. He said, I can't take care of this mouse. So let me turn it around into a human baby. And with his power of whatever, turned it around into a human child, a female child. And with a lot of love and care, he brought her up. And he got attached to the girl, his daughter, to a large extent as she grew. And when she attained the marriageable age, he decided, I am going to get the best of the grooms for my daughter. None other than sun god. He approaches the sun god and says, will you marry my daughter? And this daughter dares enough to ask the sun god, is there anybody more powerful than you? I want to marry the most powerful guy on earth. And then the sun god thinks and says, yes, a cloud can easily cover me whenever the cloud wants. Why don't you go and ask the clouds? Both the sage and the daughter approach the clouds and ask the same question. And the cloud says, yes, the wind is more powerful than me. Go ask the wind. They both reach the winds, and the wind says, yes, I cannot move a mountain. So mountain is more powerful than me. And they come to the mountain, and the girl asks the mountain the same question because she's still not satisfied. Something inside her is saying, this is not what I want. And the mountain says, yes, I might be powerful, but the little mouse can burrow a hole into me. And now this girl gets excited and says, yes, I want to marry this guy. Now the sage does not have any other choice but to turn this girl back into the mouse and get her married. What I'm trying to say is the innate nature of our body doesn't go anywhere. If you do anything superficially, nothing changes. The innate nature of our body is to be in health, not in disease. So if you make the changes, the required changes, change the environment inside the body, give the right kind of nutrition, rest, and create that atmosphere, body is capable enough and intelligent enough to correct itself and bring it back to health. Now, always, now that we know that we have to, the health is so important, who is responsible? We always think somebody outside is responsible for my health. And very loosely put it on these two. industries, the food industry and the health industry. So they are supposed to take care of her health. I have no issue about that. It is I pay them and they take care of my health, is the way we think. Let's look at each of them. Coming to the health industry. Honestly, allopathy, they study all about drugs, how to administer drugs for what disease, and make sure the symptoms go away. This is what they learn. There is nothing to be blamed. That is what they learn and that is what they do. How do we expect them to bring in health? From where do they bring their health in? It's impossible. They are not in the prevention sector at all. They take care of sickness. They are a sickness taking care industry. So don't expect health from them, right? So like I remember when I was a child, there would be somebody called family doctors who would visit our homes, know every individual of the home, our likes, our dislikes, our personalities, the way we behave, everything, and give us small tips of how to be healthy. It was such a wonderful time to be with the doctor, and they knew everybody in the family. Exactly like that, I understand that there would be family doctors in China. And these doctors would be paid at the end of the month. When nobody in the family fell sick, that is when they would be paid. Otherwise, the guy was not paid at all. Such a wonderful system, right? I think we need these. And nutritionists do that job. You have to have a holistic nutritionist. And I believe we have to be multiple people across the community where we can support people to eat right and live right. This is what we need. We have to work at the prevention level, not at the sickness level. Now, coming to the food industry, we always think somebody out there, either government or legal bodies, are sitting there taking care of what is right, what is wrong, what is healthy, what is unhealthy, and allowing everything onto our supermarkets. No, not truly, because anything which is factory made has to have such particular ingredients to go with, which is where we end up with disease. Now, there was a beautiful study done. I don't know why this is not switching off. Please excuse me. There was a beautiful study done on supermarkets. They said, we know sugar is toxic, so let's remove all those packets which have sugar in them. And I'm sure you know the rest of the story. There was no packet, bottle, tin left on the supermarket shelves. Why? Because everything contains sugar in some form or the other. Whether it is spicy, whether it is sweet, whether it is sour, every single packet has sugar in one form or the other. Why? Because sugar is the preservative. It preserves their food product. So they have to add sugar is one thing. And the second thing is sugar is the one which will keep you and me addicted to their foods. Thousands of food scientists get paid millions of dollars all around the world to sit and design the specific foods with specific tastes so that it can hit our brain in such a way that I ask for more and more and more of it. We just get addicted to it. We have a problem with, alcohol, smoking, drugs in the society. But I would say this is more dangerous because at least for those we have social norms. You have a space, time and place to sit and drink and smoke wherever. You can't do that wherever you want to. But eating wrong foods, the junk, you can do anytime, anywhere. And we seem to be taking pride in doing that. And that's the biggest problem of the society, right? So it is important to take charge of our health ourselves. And there is no better time than this period where COVID-19 has hit us, and we know for sure, beyond a doubt, that COVID is becoming fatal, where people already have multiple diseases and disorders. If you have a COVID attack without any of this, you're healthy, it just simply passes off without any problem. But people with multiple diseases and disorders, it is getting more complicated and fatal. You have to take care. So yeah, this is something I found very interesting. Every grocery shop today says we have a health food section. So what do they mean? If that is a health food section, what happens to the rest of their store? We never think of it, right? Well, now that we know we have to take charge of our health, where do I start? Should I go to a pathology lab, get all my body work and blood work done, and see where I stand? What all comes into this so-called normal range and where I stand outside the normal range, and start, manipulating those numbers into the magical number? No, says Nature Cure. Nature Cure says nobody external, outside, need to assess our health. We can assess our health ourselves. And it gives beautiful, principles to assess ourselves. Now, I'll give you a minute. People who really want to look into it, pick up a paper and a pen and start noting down. I can see one lady on my screen, and I'm going to see her and deliver my lecture. She's come back, so I'm going to start. Right. There are many times when many people reach me with a huge file and say, I've got all the parameters done. Everything seems to be normal. And my doctor says you have no problem, but I feel something is wrong inside. I don't know what, I don't know where, but I don't feel completely well. Something is wrong inside. I have not been able to figure out. I feel lethargic. I have no interest in what I want to do. And I keep on postponing. I have absolutely no energy. I feel something disturbing inside my gut. I feel something happening in my head. Can you help me? This is exactly what Nature Cure says. Absence of disease is not going to tell you that you are healthy. That feeling of wellness from inside, from within, has to be there to consider ourselves to be healthy. If not, we are not healthy. Coming to the second principle, I know today we think there are much better work to do first thing in the morning rather than look at this business. But Nature Cure says, first thing in the morning, if you don't have a timely, effortless elimination happening completely and cleanly, you're not healthy. If you have constipation, you know constipation is the mother of diseases. If you have constipation, if you have undigested matter sitting inside you and rotting, that is the cause for many diseases and disorders. If you are unable to eliminate first thing in the morning, as you wake up, you are not healthy. You don't have to have cancer to consider yourself unhealthy. This is a good sign to say that something is wrong inside. Of course, I'll deal with each of this in great detail and give you solutions as we go ahead, but I'm just touching on these principles from Nature Cure. Keen hunger. I'm sure most of us don't even know the meaning of keen hunger, because we are taught from the well-meaning people that we have to eat every 2 hours or 2.5 hours. People from different walks of life come to me saying 1.5 hours to 2.5 hours, depending on their doctors. So even if it is healthy, you're eating healthy. But let me tell you, gut is not designed that way to work 24/7. That is where we are getting into the problem. This is the fundamental problem we have with our health. So it is very important to give enough gaps between meals, enough gap through the night, and also larger gaps. And let's learn as we go ahead. And Nature Cure says, unless you create keen hunger, you should not be eating the next meal. When do you create a keen hunger? When the earlier meal is completely metabolized. I'm not saying digested. It should be completely metabolized. That is when our hunger satiety hormones start working and signaling the hunger signals. So you need to wait for keen hunger to happen. If there is no keen hunger happening inside your body, you are absolutely not healthy. The next thing is deep sleep. Today, unfortunately, youngsters, all of us, have so much on our tables and heads that we are unable to put ourselves to sleep. Youngsters have so much to do, and 24 hours are not enough. And elderly people have so much to worry, they cannot sleep. And why is sleep so important? It is at sleep that repair and rejuvenation happens. Through the day, for whatever reasons, what I created and what is created around me is going to do a lot of harm inside the body. When does that get corrected? When does that get healed? When does that get rejuvenated? During sleep. Every single day at sleep, the rejuvenation hormones, repair hormones are released, and they take care of the repair. And I have to get back to normalcy. And if I don't get that repair done through the night, they get accumulated. And every day getting these accumulated over a period of time is when you will start seeing chronic diseases. Don't wait till that happens. If you don't get good sleep, yes, you're not well. Cheerful mind. If I have a pain here and a problem there, multiple diseases to handle, to run around to doctors, dietitians, druggists, where can I expect to have a cheerful mind, right? Our mind, honestly, none of the parts of my body should remind me of their presence. That is when I can have cheerful mind. If I don't, I am not healthy. A fit body. Sadly, today, the market creates such beautiful environment for our largeness, large seats, large meals, large dresses, everything large, and says it's okay to be large. Absolutely no. It's not okay to be large. It's not okay to be obese. It's obesity which creates every other disease. When fats are sitting in your cells, they don't simply sit there. They start behaving like hormones and start creating imbalance between all the other hormones inside the body. And that is where everything gets initiated. It is very important to be fit and lean with weight. Absence of laziness. Food has a huge impact on how I behave. If I eat foods which are tamasic, yes, I'll be ignorant, I'll be lazy, I'll be not interested in anything. We need to shift to the sattvic kinds of foods, which will actually impart sattvic qualities in our mind. If you don't have one, if you are lazy and lethargic, yes, there is something wrong. Graceful movements. Today, I need somebody to help me stand up and sit down. We have come to that state. We have absolutely no physical activity and a huge activity happening in the brain. It should be the ulta way. Only then we can be healthy. If we don't have erect postures, the right postures, graceful movements, then we are not healthy. And the last one Nature Cure says is equal distribution of heat throughout the body. A healthy body can actually create and maintain heat throughout the body uniformly in spite of changes in the environment and climate. If my body is unable to maintain this heat throughout the body, I am not healthy. Now, how many of us can claim all the 9? I am healthy. Unfortunately, because of the sheer numbers here and also this kind of interaction, I'm unable to ask questions. If I ask questions, I'll have to be answering them also. So I know most of us do not fall into this category at all. And this is what is necessary to get to the state of health. You don't have to look outside. We always try to look outside. No, look inside. Change your living and eating habits, and things will change for you. And my master puts it beautifully. He says, don't check your parameters. There is no point in checking the parameters. What will you do with those parameters? Check your habits and correct them. Now body is capable of healing itself. That is what we need to do. Once a year, just like your annual checkup? No, it has to be done every moment. When people come to me with 101 kg, beyond 100, 130, 140, I can't understand what were you doing till you reached 100, right? So please check yourself what is going wrong on a moment to moment basis and change your habits. You don't have to check your parameters. And talking about the parameters, let me leave a thought for you. Well, if say we know a few hundreds to check, right? How many parameters can you check from your body? Say a few hundreds. And of course, things are adding every single day. People are finding out and telling us, you can check this, you can check this. This is the normal range. And this is how you medicate yourself and supplement yourself. Yes, but still not beyond a few hundreds. But how many are happening inside my body? Thousands of reactions, thousands of things are happening every moment in my body. Who's checking them? We don't even know them. We don't know how to check them. We don't know what are their normal range. We don't know how to correct them. What's happening for all those parameters? Body is taking care of all of them, and just few hundred we are worried and we are taking care. How wise and how wonderful, isn't it? So all we need to do is create that healthy environment inside the body, and body takes care of itself. We don't have to meddle with anything happening inside our body. Actually, we create illnesses and problems to ourselves. And again, coming to Nature Cure, based on this principle, Nature Cure defines health and disease beautifully. It says, if you have filth inside the body, that is what creates disease. If your life is existing in an unclean body, you're bound to create diseases. And if life exists in a clean body and you give the required nutrients, body is capable and intelligent to take care of itself. Just to give you an example about the light and the darkness. There could be a place dark for thousands of years, but the minute you bring in light, the darkness disappears and it gets lighted, right? You did not do anything, just brought in light. So Nature Cure says exactly like that. There is no definition for disease. Disease does not exist. It is the absence of health which exists because of the deterioration of health. So what I and you need to do is enhance health and diseases disappear. We don't have to deal with the diseases. We just enhance health and diseases disappear is what Nature Cure teaches us. Such a beautiful, wonderful philosophy from Nature Cure. Now, as I said, we are going to learn and adopt them. There is no point in learning. I'm sure we have enough in our heads. What are we going to do with all that information? It is high time we start adopting those small little things and get benefit for ourselves and the loved ones around. So here is my first assignment to all of you who are attending. Start practicing it from tomorrow morning. What are you to do? Cleanse your system first. One small step towards cleansing the body is this. First thing in the morning, you need to eliminate. How do we do this? As you wake up, as you become vertical from the horizontal position, do not reach your phones, please. Get to the bathrooms alone, not with the phone, not with the newspaper, not with your mobiles. Go alone, sit in the pot, relaxed. Why relaxed? There is a huge bag down there in the rectum, which has 2 sphincters. And all these sphincters release, relax, and tighten up because of the musculature around it. This musculature is operated by the nervous system. If you're tensed, if you're planning, if you're thinking, if you're worrying, if you're answering your mails, those neurons will not send in the right information, and you will never be able to eliminate properly, completely. And this becomes a habit, and body gives up one day and you get constipated. So relax. If you have an Indian toilet, wonderful. That's the right way of using it. No, it is perfectly designed where right from the duodenum, everything gets cleansed and flushed out. If you don't have one, well, you can't help, but just sit relaxed. How long? A minimum of 10 to 15 minutes, so that everything gets eliminated completely. Don't rush. This is where health starts. So cleanse yourself first in the morning. But if you're somebody, if this does not work, like tomorrow morning, don't expect it to work. Your body should understand, yes, this is the time for elimination. So keep sitting, keep sitting, keep sitting for a week or 10 days. Body understands and it will start happening. Whether it happens or not, every single day, please go and sit on the pot first thing in the morning. And if this is not helping, a few things to do is brush your teeth, sip a glass of water. Sip, I repeat, sip a glass of water. Don't gulp it down the throat. Sip a glass of water slowly. Stand erect and massage your stomach clockwise slowly so that you can initiate a peristaltic movement. And this might help. But sitting there every single day, relax for the next few days, is going to do the job for you, right? Hope you understood. I'm going to repeat the same thing and read it out for you. Sit on the pot for 10-15 minutes, relaxed. Observe breathing and stay calm. Out of this place, I have to put something onto the stove, I have to answer my mails. No, just sit there, relaxed. And to do this job, you have to keep your bathrooms clean. If need be, brush your teeth, sip a glass of water and massage the abdomen very lightly, no pressing. Few times clockwise and sit on the pot. Body will recognize this act of yours and respond and adopt it soon to eliminate. And very soon you will be able to do a good job of it. And I'm sure you'll understand only when you have a good, complete bowel movement first thing in the morning, feel fresh and light. Nobody can explain this in words. And the other extreme also is true. If you're constipated, bloated, feeling heavy, feeling lethargic and full, even that cannot be explained in words. If you don't want to suffer, start doing this from tomorrow morning. And for the people who have enrolled into the course, you have no choices, right? I'm a taskmaster. Forgive me, but I need to do that. So from tomorrow morning, in the group created by the Wellcure, you will post that whether you did this act first thing in the morning or not is the first sentence. I need to know. And the second thing is, did it happen or not? So these two sentences you will post for me to assess and give you tips and help you from tomorrow morning in the group. I hope this is very clear. Right. With that, let's get to understand food. Generally, we think what is on our plate is food, but our scriptures say something else. I've taken this particular shloka from the Taittiriya Upanishad, chapter 2, verse 1, which is called Brahmanandavalli or sometimes even Anandavalli. When I say Upanishad, it has nothing to do with religion. It is a body of knowledge. And this particular verse or the shloka says, from the universal energy or the universal consciousness arises the element of space. And from space, the air is born. And from the air comes fire. And from the fire comes earth. And from the earth comes the herbs and the plants. And from the plant comes life, including humans. So what I mean to say is, body is made up of all these natural elements. If the body is made up of these elements, all of them become food. And our scriptures say it's not just the food on the plate which is going to nourish us, which is going to help us thrive and be healthy. Every input going into our body and mind is what is going to nourish us and do what I am. So everything going into my body is going to matter. It's not just the food on the plate. The five senses, what you put through five senses, be very careful what you put into them. Everything is going to have an effect on your body. The thoughts which happen in your mind, what you put into the mind is going to decide whether you're going to be healthy or not. Each of these aspects we are going to look into in this course. I will deal with the senses and the mind at the end of the course, but right now let me start with these natural elements. If I say, if my sari is made up of cotton, if it tears, I need a cotton thread. I cannot use iron or wood to mend this. I'm sure all of you agree with me, right? So it is important when something goes wrong with this body to give all these elements to keep it in health. And when something goes wrong, all these elements are required to repair my body. So I'm going to deal with each one of them. Earth is the grossest, and a little subtler is the water, more subtler is the fire, and even more subtler is the air, and the subtlest is the space element. So let's begin with the space element today, and I'm going to deal with just this element today. When I say space, any element for that matter, I'm not capable of understanding and expressing every aspect of these elements, the huge topics and huge perspectives to each of these. What I'm touching upon is a small aspect related to health, body, and food. Coming to the space element. Right. Please be with me. How do I create space in my stomach is the next question for me. As I said earlier, I need some space and some gap in my digestive system because my gut is not designed to work 24/7, just like my heart. Even my heart gets tired and gives up someday, but my gut is not even designed for that. As long as I'm alive, it needs that gaps. So now, how do I create that space? Again, let me answer it myself. Fasting is the answer. But the minute we listen to this word fasting, it scares me because nobody has taught me fasting. Neither my school nor my home. At least I'm fortunate. When I was young, I would see my grandparents, this side, that side, my aunts and uncles, everybody doing fasting at the drop of the hat. But today nobody is doing because we have decided it's useless, right? So let's understand what is fasting and then decide to do or not to do and how to do. So take a common man. As soon as he wakes up, he needs a coffee or a tea, some beverage to drink. Even before this goes and settles inside, we have been taught that you have to have an early breakfast, a huge big breakfast, because the name defines you're breaking a fast. So you have to have a huge meal. We'll look into it whether it is true or not and all of that as we go ahead. But right now, let me stop there. So we have consumed a huge breakfast. Even before it goes and settles down, we are bored or stressed, and I want another cup of a beverage, a coffee or a tea, mid-morning. And very soon comes another large meal called lunch. And evening, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I am stressed. So I want something to drink, to freshen me up, stimulate me back to life, and something to eat also. Then comes another huge meal called dinner. And some people have a habit of drinking a glass of milk at the end of the day before they go off to sleep. Just imagine the state of my gut now. Completely digested, undigested, partially digested, completely undigested. It is in a mess. And you expect this system to cleanse and be healthy and take care of all the repair. Not possible. Now, let me leave the gut at that state and come back to fasting, because this is what we are interested in at this point of time. Now, coming back to the gut, if I say fasting, what happens? I'm sure all of you have this experience. Through the week, we are all working. So we throw things here and there at home. But at the end of the week, what do you say? Oh, I have time. I have some energy. Let me put the things back to their place and clean up my home. Isn't it? Exactly like that, the body behaves. Now, when there is nothing going inside, because the gut is the biggest system which needs a lot of attention, lot of effort, lot of time, lot of energy through the day. It doesn't end when you sleep. It goes even after we sleep. Several hours depending on what we have eaten through the day. So a large chunk of energy goes towards the work of the gut. So now when nothing goes inside, okay, let me define fasting before going there. What does fasting mean? Not eating one bunch of bananas, 1 dozen of bananas, or 1 kg of upma, 1 kilo of poha, or 1 liter of milk. No, that is not our ways of fasting. No, fasting simply means being on water, right? So when you're in this kind of fasting, now the brain says, oh, wow, I've got a lot of time. I'm jobless almost, right? I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of time. So what shall I do? Now it starts looking at what can be taken up. The first thing it does is cleanse. Detoxification happens inside the body. Then it starts repairing and healing. This is the most important thing which happens during fasting. Repair happens, healing happens. And 2016, Dr. Osumi, a cell biologist from Japan, got a Nobel Prize for deciphering the mechanism behind fasting. He proved to us that repair happens during fasting. To what extent? He says even damage at the DNA level can get corrected during fasting. That is the potency of fasting. That is why it takes the most important space in the elements. Did we know this now after 2016, after Dr. Osumi told us? No. Indians knew for a long time. Thousands of years back, Indians declared what fasting is, what fasting does to us. Take any religion in India. They might have different ways and patterns of fasting, but everybody does fasting, or at least used to do fasting is what I should be saying. And there is a saying again, Langhanam paramaushadham. What is Langhanam? Of course, Ayurveda defines in a different way, but just to simply put it, not eating, fasting. Langhanam is fasting, is paramaushadham. They have said there is no better treatment, there is no better medication. Why? If you get into fasting, body will take care. It will heal and repair. So it is that very important. Now, with this, let me start reading out matter from our text. So, what does fasting do? Fasting per se, fasting by itself is not healing, is not going to give us health. Fasting creates an environment, a restful environment for the gut, where body takes over and starts repair and healing. That is what is very important for us to understand. So fasting provides that environment for healing to happen. We automatically stop ingestion of unsuitable foods, unhealthy foods during fasting itself promotes health. Stomach and intestine empty themselves from the accumulated unwanted food stuff, which cleanses the body. All organs of elimination, not just the undigested matter from the gut, but all organs, right from kidneys, lungs, the liver, and the skin, everywhere the elimination becomes quicker and bigger. It promotes increase in metabolic activity. What is metabolic activity? Building and breaking down inside the system. It promotes both. And fasting allows an opportunity to normalize chemical composition. When cleansing happens, when rest happens, when all these happens inside our body, naturally the chemical composition inside our body changes and shifts towards positivity. It allows body an opportunity to regenerate and rejuvenate the cells. Building is what I was trying to say. And the digestive organs, the gut gets a lot of rest. And after this rest, the digestion, assimilation, absorption all becomes beautiful and better nutrient absorption happens. It also talks about, it conserves the vital energy, especially the nervous energy, where it gives clarity of mind to do and not to do, what to do, what not to do. The biggest confusion we always seem to have. And it improves the functions of every organ and tissue for that matter inside the body. The cell, which constitutes the tissue and then becomes an organ, every system for that matter gets better with fasting. Am I telling you this? No. I picked it from this particular textbook of Nature, which is called How to Fast, Nature's Method for the Restoration of Health. It was written by a great naturopath called Kenneth Jeffrey. He, in his 20s, had liver cancer, and he was told that he will live for a few more months. He, on his own way, figured out the right ways of living and eating, and he lived to his ripe age of 90 years. And he took up 48 days of fasting, followed by right eating, living, and exposure to all the natural elements. And he wrote a lot of articles and published a lot of books in the way of nature cure. And this is one of his beautiful books. You can read it to understand more about fasting. And at the end of this talk, I'll tell you how to do what to do in simple ways. So this is all about fasting. And the beauty is now the whole world understands fasting with the benefit it gives physiologically and biochemically. But Indians knew much beyond that. What do I mean by saying that? Look at the word in Sanskrit, upavasa. Upavasa simply means, upa is near, vasa is to live. What does this mean? This means you're going to live with whom? Yourself. This is a journey towards yourself. And our people knew this, that our senses always turn outside seeking pleasures, right? But the Indian philosophy, the core of Indian philosophy is look inside, search inside, find that self inside you, and that solves all the problems outside. Even the bliss, they said, is inside. Don't search outside. But we are looking at small little things in this course. So fasting, that is upavasa, helps us in that inward journey where you can discover yourself. You call it Atma, God, self, soul, whatever you want to name. But fasting helps this journey of going inside. That's the beauty. All else is a bonus. This inward journey of understanding yourself is the most important thing. We have to know why the hell we are here. What is the purpose of life? And this is what fasting teaches us. Not tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning when you fast, it is misery. It is a challenge. But as you do, and as you go ahead with fasting regularly, this is what happens inside our system. And our people knew that it's not easy. That's why they always associated fasting with a prayer. Everybody does it with a prayer, with a vratam, with a festival. All of that was associated with God and things like that, so that we would do that properly, right? And I suggest you do that. Whenever you're doing fasting, you should have an intention. That strong intention is what is going to make this journey easy and smooth. You should never forget that fasting is not healing, but fasting creates this atmosphere of healing. So with that, let me go ahead and tell you a little more from the research point of view after the textual knowledge. This is the important man we were talking about, Dr. Osumi. And he basically worked on one particular concept called autophagy. What does autophagy mean? As the word suggests, auto on its own, phagy kills or digests itself. So what he worked on is, he says, every day, whether I'm responsible because of wrong eating and living, or something around me is responsible, lot of things go wrong in my system. And when something goes wrong, I should be able to correct it. My body is capable of doing it. I should be able to correct it. When will that happen? That is, something has gone wrong in a cell. If I keep feeding, everything thrives and survives. It is like the survival of the fittest. You keep feeding, everything multiplies and thrives. But when you stop feeding, all those rogue cells, all those cells which are unhealthy, all those cells which are weak, kill themselves, dissolve themselves, and body uses their constituents again inside the body for repair and making and breaking. This is the beauty. This is what he deciphered, right? Let me read it from one of his papers. Autophagy is a process by which cellular components are captured into organelles called autophagosomes and then brought to the lysosome or vacuole to be broken down and recycled for other uses. It frequently comes into play during starvation. I would want to correct that word where he calls it as starvation, but for us it is fasting, allowing cells to survive the periods of privation. He made key early discoveries in the field of autophagy. In his work, he has identified most of the proteins and pathways involved in the process, demonstrated how they are regulated by proteins that sense cells' metabolic states, and started to outline the fine mechanistic details of the autophagosomes formation in the yeast cell. So he proved that in fasting, all that which is wrong at the cellular level gets dissolved. You don't get to know that you have a tumor growing, you have a cancer in one part of your body after 10 years of its development. If you do this fasting, the very day they got created gets killed. They don't multiply. and create the cancers or any disease or disorder for that matter inside our body is what his work decided. Now, there are different kinds of fasting. I'm not going to get into it. As I said, I believe in giving one simple practical solution which we can adopt into life. But let me read this for you from the Center for Integrative Medicine. It says fasting is one of the oldest therapies, even in medicine, even in allopathy. Many renowned physicians throughout the history and many of the oldest healing systems have recommended fasting as an integral method of healing and prevention. Even the father of medicine believed that fasting enabled the body to heal itself. In the process, probably a lot of things have changed and we have never been given this knowledge. And the same university talks about a research paper, and the researchers talk about finding an evidence that fasting affects the circadian internal clocks in the liver, in the skeletal muscle, causing them to rewire the metabolism. The way the food digests is completely different after and during fasting, which can ultimately lead to improved health and protection against age-associated diseases. Now, let me get into specific papers. What you see on your left-hand side is the reference papers, when they were published, and the author's name. Whoever is interested in understanding more in great detail can go back to these papers and understand them. But what I'm doing is the result of these researchers, and I'm just going to read it out for you. Whatever I've already told you, I'm going to read and prove to you that yes, it is true. You don't have to take my word. Long-term fasts, 82% of people in this particular study saw their blood pressure fall to healthy levels. The average drop in the blood pressure was 20 mmHg for the systolic and 7 mmHg for the diastolic. Going to the next paper, which was published in 2013. In this, 30 healthy adults followed a water fast for 24 hours, just one day. And after the fast, they had significantly lower blood levels of cholesterol and triglycerides, which are a risk factor for the cardiovascular diseases. And the next paper, which was published in 2021, was about cancer, and we have discussed in detail with Dr. Osumi's work. And the next paper was published in 2014, and it says the review, it was a review paper. What is a review paper? Lot of research paper, one person reviews all of them, old and new, and then publishes a particular data which comes out of all the research papers. That's a review paper. So he says from this review paper, they found that both intermittent fasting, I'm sure all of us know what is intermittent fasting, giving gap of 14 to 16 hours basically without eating in a 24-hour cycle, and alternate day fasting were associated with I missed a word probably, as effective as limiting calorie intake at reducing insulin resistance. What is insulin resistance? First, insulin increases in the body because it is not able to transport the glucose into our cells, and later insulin resistance because of the accumulation of fat inside the cells. It cannot recognize insulin bringing this glucose to the cell. It does not open the cell wall and allow insulin to come inside, which creates this huge backup of glucose in the blood, which we call as type 2 diabetes. So this creates insulin resistance and leads us to type 2 diabetes, is what this paper is talking about. And the next paper says, your digestive system may also benefit from getting periodic breaks, which I've been saying again and again. Studies suggest that it might improve gut health. And I'm sure most of you would be looking at answers for your gut health: gas, bloating, flatulence, acidity, gastritis, can't digest food properly, all of this. Studies, okay, other studies have demonstrated that intermittent fasting can help by changing the gut microbiota. What is microbiota? I'll deal with it as a separate chapter because we have so much research flowing into our arms. It is beautiful actually, but just to understand that word, all those microorganisms and their metabolic waste, everything put together is called as microbiota, which is very important in the gut for the gut health. It helps the gut health by increasing the numbers and diversity of this microbiota. Going ahead, some research has also found that short-term fasts may boost metabolism by increasing levels of neurotransmitters, which are called norepinephrine, which could enhance weight loss. And the next data is very important because most of the time we think we are losing muscles with fasting, but this paper clearly shows that fasting was found to be more effective than calorie restriction at increasing fat loss while simultaneously preserving muscle tissue. Fasting could improve brain function. Why brain function? Because it increases a chemical called brain-derived neurotropic factor, which in turn helps in repair of the brain mechanisms and functions of the brain also. And that is why brain functions improve, increase nerve cell synthesis and protection against neurodegenerative disorders such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, which is growing with elderly people today. And practicing intermittent fasting may also help you sleep better. We always think at the first instance that I don't eat, then I'm hungry, I can't sleep well. But the paper clearly showing as you go ahead with fasting, of course, you have to get used to it. And then this becomes, gives a good sound sleep. Why? Because by having a positive effect on your body's natural circadian rhythm. During periods of fasting, your body undergoes repair, rejuvenation, and that is linked to a longer lifespan is what this particular paper is talking about. I just wanted to show this, like how many multiple things happen at the molecular level, at the metabolic level, at the cellular level inside our body during fasting. Just to give you an understanding that everything happens inside the body during fasting. Now, coming to the nature, all the wild animals, what do? If something goes wrong, generally nothing goes wrong with them, but because they know how to eat and live. But if something goes wrong with them, what do? They absolutely abstain from eating, complete fasting. If you have pets at home, of course, if you have not spoiled them with your ways of eating and living, you will have observed that the minute something goes wrong, they stop eating. They absolutely stop eating, nothing. Even their favorite foods you give, they don't eat. They go on fasting and they do a few beautiful things if you have observed. They'll simply rest. They'll lie down as if they're not going to wake up again. You'll get scared and you'll take them to your vet. They'll complete rest. They sip little water whenever they want. And when they feel a little cold in their bodies, they go out into the sun and rest for some time in the sunlight. These are the 4 things they do. Stop eating, drink water in sips, expose themselves to the sunlight, and rest completely. With these 4 things, they jump back to health in a day or 2. I'm sure all of those people who have pets will vouch for what I'm saying. This is what happens in nature. And we are also designed in the same exact way. And if you remember your experience when you fell sick, the first thing what happened was you had a white coating on your tongue and the taste disappeared. You were meant to do that, not eat. Go on fasting and rest well so that body can take over and repair. But what did we do? Oh, nothing is tasting well. Whatever I'm eating is not tasting. So let me eat something more spicy, more oily, more tangy, more salty. We even on the days of sickness, specifically and especially we eat more junk. What are we doing? It is asking for not eating, and we are doing more abuse to the body. Think of it. And again, I'm not saying this. I've picked it up from a particular textbook of Nature Cure called Efficacy of Fasting, written by Dr. Brothers called Dr. Gala and Gala, published by Gala Publications. And it says beasts and birds instinctively avoid taking food to get rid of illnesses. Loss of appetite is a predominant symptom of every disease. So listen to your body is what we need to learn here. Well, back to my assignment. So what do you do? Let's start adopting this fasting. We know how important it is, how vital it is to keep our health and also reverse our diseases. So it is definitely next thing is to adopt it. How do we adopt it? You don't have to be scared. We can do in small steps, gradually and slowly go towards full day fasting. I'm going to today explain only half of it because we have a huge number of people. I don't know and I have no clue what could be happening at your end. You could be having different diseases and disorders. You could be having different complications. You could be taking too many drugs. So this might interfere with what I'm talking. It might not be right for everybody. So I'm going to give something which is very safe for all of you and each of you. All 183 listening to me now can do this safely. What do I do? Pick any day, one day of the week. Which day? That day should be very easygoing. The minimum of physical and mental and emotional activity you should be having on that particular day. Why? Because the whole purpose of fasting is to give rest. If you're physically active or you're mentally doing a lot of work or emotionally disturbed, the whole purpose of fasting is lost. You have to rest. I don't mean to say you have to go and sleep. People at home and your offices will throw you out of the house if you do this once every week. Don't do that. I'm only saying be on minimal activity, what is required to be done, but rest as much as possible on that particular day. So what did I say? Choose one day of the week, whatever suits you, and that day be on minimum physical mental activity. And stop consumption in any form, liquid, solid, everything, stop. So I mean to say, no early morning juices or beverages, be on water. And this water also, sit down and sip small quantities of water whenever you want, how much ever you want. There is no cap on this. How much ever water you want, keep sipping. And what temperature of water? Whatever is pleasant for my body. If it is summer, plain water or water in the cool state which has been put on an earthen pot. If it is colder seasons, warm water. Whatever water your body wants, give it in small sips whenever it wants, how much ever it wants. Keep being on water till lunchtime. So no early morning beverages, no breakfast also. Be on water till lunchtime. When I say lunchtime, I am not putting a time there. Please understand. Listen to your body, not me, not anybody outside. Nobody can be an expert for your body. You are the expert. Listen to your body. When your body says, I'm done, it's enough, I cannot tolerate it anymore. We're done for that day. Enough. Don't torture your body. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to go through violence. Nature Cure's first principle is non-violence. So, whenever you feel done, you're done on the first day. Slowly start pushing. Every week, push it a little more. Let's say first day at 12 or 12:30, you said, I'm done. Done. 12:30, you consume. Next week, when you do, 12:30. Next week, 1 o'clock. Next week, 1:30. Slowly, few minutes, go on pushing it at your own comfort levels and start being on water for half a day once a week. And at lunchtime, eat a lot of fruits, preferably soft, sweet fruits. Lots as a meal. You're not going to eat anything else that particular day for lunch. And evening, have a tender coconut water whenever you feel hungry. You could feel hungry at 4 or 5 or 6. Wait for that keen hunger to develop and drink a tender coconut water in sips. If you come from a country or a place where you don't get tender coconut water, replace it with a fresh fruit juice. This fresh fruit juice should be sweet. You should not need a sweetener to be added. Sweet, fresh fruit extracted. Don't remove anything. Don't add anything into it. Again, drink it in sips. Please dilute it with 50% water. I repeat, if you don't get tender coconut water, get fresh fruit juice, add 50% water into it and drink 1 spoon by 1 spoon in the evening on the fasting day. This is not even called fasting. According to Nature Cure, only when you do 24 hours fasting, it is actually termed technically as fasting. What we are trying to do is approach to fasting. That's all. Okay. So do half a day fasting and eat fruits for lunch, evening tender coconut water. When you get hungry next, eat a simple, balanced, healthy cooked meal. What does this balanced, healthy meal means? We are going to take it up in the coming sessions. The whole of the course is all about that, but try to make it into as healthy as possible at the end of the day, right? So this is what I want you to practice. All of you can practice, and people who have registered into the course, please wait. Let me finish in the next session, which is on Wednesday, and then give you the assignment, right? Okay. Now, everywhere I would like to share experiences. Here, I would like to share my own experiences with COVID and fasting. If you want to know more, go to this particular link and you will be able to read it more. But let me share it with you. Okay, let me read it for you first. Take it up once a week on the day of low physical and mental activity. Drop morning juice and beverages and breakfast. Keep drinking water in sips whenever you want and the quantity you feel like. Fruit meal for lunch. Have a tender coconut water in the evening or a fresh fruit juice with 50% water added. And a simple light cooked meal for dinner. An example has been given. For example, a cooked meal. Use unpolished rice, green gram dal, vegetables, 1:5. If you take 1 cup of rice, 1/4 cup of dal, 5 cups of vegetables and cook them all together. Steaming them would be better, and garnish them with ginger, pepper, and sprinkle the unrefined salt at the end. And this is what would be one of the best ideas on the day of fasting. Now, a couple of months ago, my younger one came back from Bombay, and by the time he reached home, he knew that some of the people who he met had been tested positive. And I was taking care of him. And when I got all the symptoms and developed temperature in the next 4 days, I knew it could be COVID. And the minute I got to know, I went on fasting, just water. First day was terrible. I cannot explain. Huge headache, body aches, everywhere it is aching. I can't sleep, I can't sit, I can't stand, I can't do anything. There was not much of fever, but huge tiredness and weakness. And the chills were, I thought I will use only 1 blanket so that I don't, use all of that and think of cleaning them. But all the blankets in the house were not enough. That kind of chills I had. And of course, I did not have any throat and respiratory systems, of course. This was in the second wave of the COVID. And second day, I was so much better, except for increased fever and tiredness. And third day, I was absolutely almost fine. And I started on tender coconut water. Tender coconut water for breakfast, tender coconut water for lunch, tender coconut water for dinner. And I did the same on the 4th day. 5th day, back to normal. I was back to work also. Absolutely back to normal. This is how we dealt with all the viral infections back earlier. Even when I was a child, I remember all those viral infections were given a name of some goddess. We treated that as welcome, that the goddess is coming to our homes, isolated the people who had the disease and gave them patya, the therapeutic diet, very simple, liquids to drink for 8 days, 10 days. And then we would take them to the temple and then give them a neem wash. And then they would get back with complete vaccination for their life. You don't need external chemical vaccination, which is creating multiple problems inside our systems. This is what we need to do. Anyway, as we go ahead, we'll understand much about it. Coming back, let me look at the time and see where I stand. Okay. Right. Let me end this session with a beautiful story. I don't know, I like a lot of stories in my life. And I tend to share a lot of stories because stories teaches us a lot of things and also registers in ourselves. And this is what helps us adopt them easily. Why? Where we live and with whom we have interactions matter. This was a beautiful story which my grandmother used to say. There was a parrot which gave birth to two parrots, and died for some reason. And a hunter picked up these two birds. He sold one to an ashram and the other one a thief picked up. And they grew at their respective places. The one in the ashram learned the ways of ashram. When people came into the ashram, he would say Rama Rama. He would ask, are you hungry? Are you thirsty? There is water here in the pot. There is fruit on the trees. Let me drop some fruits. It would go and pluck some fruits and drop it down. And my grandmother even would animate and say, it would go to the extent of going and taking a dip in the water, coming back and sprinkling that water on this tired traveler. And it would go in and tell the sages, there is somebody waiting for you, and bring him out. So it would do all the ways of ashram. But he was always curious about the other brother. He would keep on asking the sage, I want to see the other guy. And this guy picked up his ways, the thief's ways. One fine day, the sage decides to take this bird to his brother. And they travel and come to this place. As they come nearer to this place, the other birds start shouting, catch them, loot them, kill them. And this one gets so terrified, it leaves the sage and runs away, flies away, and comes back to the ashram. And after the sage comes back, asks the sage, why the hell is he behaving so badly? We were both born to the same parents. Why is he behaving so badly? And the sage says, it's not the birth. It is our bringing up. It is our environment. It is what we hear and see all the time, which matters. Don't take it lightly. If there are people who are diseased all the time and think it is okay to be diseased, and they cannot do anything about it, and feel it is their karma, it is their fate, and nothing can be done about it, you'll also think that way. If you have people obese around you, and think they want to eat more the way they are doing, and they cannot do anything about it. It is their, what is that? Hypothyroidism, which is causing all of that weight gain. And they have multiple excuses to take. You're going to do the same. Please have people around you who can change your ways of living and thoughts. And that's, okay, let me go back before going into that. And that's exactly what we intend to do in this course. As I said, this WhatsApp group will be created, and every day we have this group interactions. with me being present there, right? Constantly through the day, we are interacting, answering each other's questions, and me correcting people. If one person goes wrong, everybody else gets corrected. And this environment is created here in this group, motivating people, inspiring people to adopt. At the end of 3 weeks, it should have become your nature. It should have become your next or the new habits. And this is what is going to stay for life. With that, let me get back to the theme of Wellcure. And thanks to each one of you who have taken time off on a weekday to attend this lecture. Thank you all. Back to you guys, Ishita and Janvi. Let me stop my sharing.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gauri, for a wonderful session today. And we just spend the next 10 to 15 minutes taking up questions from the participants. So I'll just open up the chat for everyone. If you have any questions with respect to what has been covered today, please put them in the chat box. And
yeah, that's very important. What has been covered today? I cannot answer all your questions. It's impossible. We just had 10 minutes, have 10 minutes more. And I'm sure Wellcure team also needs a few minutes. So let's take a few questions based on the topic of today and nothing else.
Okay, so a lot of people are saying that they loved the session, and we truly hope that you did have some very useful takeaways from here, and you start applying them in your own lives. So I'll just start taking up the questions. There are a couple of them regarding fasting. So the question is that is it safe for everyone to fast? For example, there was one lady who said she was breastfeeding. A couple of people are saying they have gastritis, reflux, diabetes. So what about them, fasting guidelines?
You said 3 things: diabetes, gastritis, breastfeeding. Let us deal with these 3 things. Breastfeeding. Don't think you eat and that comes out as a milk. No. All that what you eat is processed in your body and milk is made. If you can rest yourself during these times, this half-day rest, actually body will become more enervated, more rejuvenated, and there will be better production of breast milk. Absolutely no worries. It is not the time to gobble more. It is the time to rejuvenate. You know, through the pregnancy, you have eaten more and more and more, right? Now is the time to lose all of them also. But that does not mean you have to starve yourself. Just half-day fast like this is absolutely safe, if all is well. Remember that. Coming to gastritis, you will not be able to do fasting because of your gastritis. So people with gastritis, acidity, and the sort, please don't start attempting the fasting. You go on tender coconut water. Just drink tender coconut water in the morning, tender coconut water for lunch, and probably evening fruits to start with. Solve your gastritis and the gut issues and then start fasting. Coming to diabetics, absolutely yes, you can do it safely and you can reverse your diabetes. I am going to repeat, you can reverse type 2 diabetes with fasting and all other things which I'm going to discuss in this course, but please do it under supervision. Don't do it yourself, because I don't know your blood sugars. I don't know what medications you take. I don't know if you're on insulin. So it is not right and safe for me to, give a blanket statement here. Please do it under a doctor in your family or a naturopath or an Ayurvedic physician who knows how to handle your blood sugars. And on the day of fasting, maybe you'll have to take less medication or get rid of medication on that particular day, depending on your blood sugars. So please do it under supervision. Yes, after you understand and you know what to do, you can do it on your own. And that is what is going to help heal your pancreas and get you back to normalcy. Does that answer all the questions, Ishita?
Yeah, it does. It does. Also, there's one question about what about people who want to gain weight, and should they be joining this program, or is it only for people who want to lose weight?
Wonderful question. Yes. Even if you want to lose weight, you want to be healthy, right? This is one of the most interesting things which I see with some of the people, right? See, they'll be very lean. When they are lean, that is the nature of their body. They are not going to put on weight. Why? they don't have specific cells, specialized cells called the adipose cells in their body. That is why the fats do not go and sit there and increase their size. So they'll always stay lean throughout their life, whatever they eat. But I and you might probably put on weight because we have these adipose cells inside us. But what you need to understand is, all lean people think they have a license to eat everything wrong because they're lean. No, they're not going to put on weight. They're not going to become obese. So they think they can eat anything, everything on earth. And there they get into danger. If I eat more, the fats sit in my cells and I become bigger. And I know I'm getting obese and I'll do something about it. But for a lean person, those fats are going to run around in the blood. They are more dangerous in a lean person than somebody where the fat is going and setting and accumulating in a cell. So please don't take it easy. You need to be healthy. It is not about weight. It is not about gaining weight and losing weight. First thing is to become healthy and fit. Then we can think about weight. And eating right and living right is a natural process where the outcome is losing weight. But gaining weight, there, let me tell you, if your gut is in trouble, your gut gets better and absorption of nutrients become better, absorption of calories and use of calories become better, and you could put on weight. But again, there is a set point in each of us. When we reach this set point, it is very difficult to either gain weight or lose weight. There we have to do some circus probably, but yes, the course is designed for everybody.
Wonderful. And also there are many questions, and I think we've already addressed it in the beginning of the session where you had listed out who are the people who will benefit from this course. But again, I think a few of them have joined late. So I'm just going to quickly repeat that, yes, hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, diabetes, PCOD, hormonal issues, all of these, obesity,
cardiovascular diseases, dyslipidemia, hypertension, all related to hormones, autoimmune disorders, allergies, all of them.
Right. So it's pretty much covers a very long list of, and I think, most of these questions get answered by that one statement itself, that yes, this is something that is definitely going to help you. And I would also like to, since I see a couple of more questions on those lines, talk more about what to expect from this course. So it's obviously started today, and it's going to be happening every thrice a week. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 6 to 8 p.m. And, there are different topics. Dr. Gauri already took us through the different topics that will be covered. It's going to be a total of 10 online sessions where she will cover everything from preventing to reversing diseases. And yes, it is definitely going to be beneficial for you if you are a nutritionist or a yoga therapist, or just someone who's a health enthusiast and wishes to join this program for yourself. So, Janvi, I would just request you to share the screen with the details so that if there's anyone interested in making the booking, you can go ahead and do that.
Just a second.
So, there's a question. So there are a couple of questions regarding water. So yes, we have one entire session where water and how it should be, what's the correct method of drinking it. A lot is going to be discussed in detail in the course. So that's as a topic, it's definitely going to cover. It's one of the elements of nature. So that's definitely going to be covered quite in depth in one of the sessions. Someone going from stroke treatment, is it safe for them to join this?
Absolutely, yes. You learn everything. Let me see your condition. If you've just had the stroke and you're still in the rehabilitation stage, I will definitely guide you when to start, but you'll understand everything in the course and you can start off.
Okay. Can a diabetic with post-surgery of stomach, can they benefit from this?
Absolutely. Everybody will get benefit. But when you say specific issues, I need to look into it a little more and tell you what specifically you need to adopt, but this is for everybody.
Right. So there's a question regarding certificates. So yes, certificates will be given to all the participants after completing the course. We will be sending them out to you.
Let me add to what Ishita is saying. Not everybody is going to get the certificate. Unless you participate actively in the course and adopt everything said in the course, you are not going to get the certificate.
Right. So there are a lot of assignments which, makes the course very, very interactive. On a daily basis, you will be given assignments after every lecture. And, Dr. Gauri is going to inspect all of these on WhatsApp. So you will have to share all of these pictures, be as participative as possible. And that's for your own benefit. That is exactly when you're going to actually see the difference after joining the course.
Somebody is asking, can we see a certificate, the sample certificate?
Yeah, so Nikunj, the sample certificate you will see on our page, the e-learning page that we have. Janvi, I'll just request you to share that link on the
group, right?
That section. You will find it in the sample certificate. Okay, so if someone's fasting, what is the right time for dinner the previous day?
I would always insist, listen to your body. Just because you're fasting next day does not mean you will eat at 12 o'clock in the night, right? Don't do that. Your regular times, and when your body is hungry and asking for food, give dinner. And next follows the fasting.
Does fasting also help with dealing with the parasites in the digestive system?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, they get killed. But not with this half-day fasting. We'll have to do much more. Eating right, living right, everything. Yes, this is a part of it. That's all. See, don't think fasting is the end of all. Just do half-day fasting and all your problems will disappear. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm teaching different things. This is one of them. That's all.
Okay, and there's a question on recordings, and will the recordings of the missed classes be available? So like mentioned earlier, we do not record any of the, except for this session, we do not record any of the other sessions. You're encouraged to attend it live, and if in case you're a participant and for some reason you have missed it, you can always get in touch with us, and we will definitely include you the next time we have the live session being conducted for the next batch. So that is how
you get the summary of every session at the end of the session.
Right. So after every class, we have a WhatsApp group. So after every session, a summary of whatever was covered, all the important points in the form of a document, PDF, is shared in the group for your reference. It can be considered as something that you can refer to after the course is done as well. Okay, so is there anything that I have missed out in the questions? If I have, then you can just write it again in the chat. I will take it up.
And all the participants in the course who have taken up the course, if you have specific questions, please don't worry. I will start the next session by answering all your questions. We have too many people to answer today, so I'll do that in the next session, not to worry at all.
Okay, somebody's written genetic diseases. So
sorry, go ahead, complete the question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think the question is that somebody with a genetic disease disorder, can they join this course?
Okay. Now, I need a minute to explain. I cannot say yes or no anytime when you ask questions. See, when it comes to genes, today epigenetics clearly shows us that environment matters. Let me give you an example. I put a seed on this table and it will remain a seed forever. I just give a drop of water, it starts sprouting tomorrow morning. I add sand and give sunlight, it will grow into a huge tree. So it was the environment, it was the inputs which made the difference to the seed. Exactly like that, all of us carry genetic material for different things. My parents, my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, we have hundreds of things in our genes, but they express themselves only when they get the right environment. If everybody in the family has diabetes, but I eat right and live right, I need not develop diabetes. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. But of course, there will be some things which cannot be modified also, which is heredity things we can. Genes can also be modified, adopting all of this. To what extent depends on what you carry, how intense it is, what is your lifestyle, and how much damage you have done. All that matters. But yes, you can make a difference to yourself.
There is one more question which is coming on repeat, and this is regarding the first assignment that you have given. Can they drink lukewarm water before going for elimination?
Yes, I've already said that. Yes, you can sip on lukewarm water or water, plain water, depending on the climate. Whatever your body is asking, listen to it. Learn to listen to the body. There can't be anything better expert than the body itself. It is telling you what needs to be done.
And there's one participant who asks, is there a cure for autoimmune disorders?
Yes, absolutely. You created it. So change your lifestyle and eating, it'll reverse.
All right. So just to repeat again on, what to expect from this course. So as Dr. Gauri has mentioned that she will be covering the 5 elements of nature in much detail: ether, air, fire, water, and earth. There will also be discussion on the macro and micronutrients, how to look at it holistically, lots of research papers, everything backed by science. There will be definitions, functions, sources of foods, impact on the human system, troubleshooting. Lots of troubleshooting will be done on in all of these live sessions. What to eat, when to eat, how to eat. I know we are having a lot of questions regarding this. How much to eat? All of that will be covered quite in detail. How to design your own nutrient-rich, healthy meals, which are tasty and delicious. And it's really a wonderful process where so many of us end up sharing such wonderful recipes also in the group and learning so much from each other through this process. So, we would urge as many of you, as possible to join and take advantage of this beautiful experience. It's a lifetime of, learning that you're going to get. Okay, if it's possible to attend the next course after joining this one as a revision or kind of a lifetime access. Asking because after applying in practical life, maybe. So yeah, for this, we have an alumni support group made in Nikunj. So we don't just, stop providing support to you after the course is done. All of the participants are moved to an alumni group. It's a whole community of like-minded people. Everyone has done this course, and Dr. Gauri herself is there in that. So if any kind of assistance is required, even after completing the course, there is support available there. And of course, if you've missed anything, then, you can definitely get in touch with us. We'll help you out. So what are the timings of the classes? It's from 6 to 8 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we are taking up questions in the chat only. So would request everyone to please put it in the chat. We may not be able to unmute you because we have a lot of participants here. We may not be able to allow everyone.
We're going beyond time.
I'll just take up the last question. I've already answered this. What if you miss the class? Then we allow you to attend it for the next batch. You can get in touch with us and we will support you. So there'll be an operational support, for that. You can get in touch with us. Okay. All right. So I think we've covered most of the questions, and thank you everyone for joining us in today's session. We do hope that you stay connected with us in some way, and thank you so much, Dr. Gauri, for again taking out the time and graciously sharing everything, all your wonderful teachings.
Thank you, Ishita. Thank you for handling it and taking care of it so beautifully. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please feel free to, ask us any course-related questions. If there are, we'll be here for a few more minutes. Thank you, Dr. So yes, we'll be sharing the bank details and all of that in the chat.